So yeah, these are the 3 games we have. This is the first. And as I understand it, there'll be more cases. This is the first case. The first turnabout. So there's going to be a lot of me reading out loud, which you guys are going to be in for a treat because I am terrible at reading out loud. Play the first turnabout? Yes. Gasp. Gasp. Ooh. Damn it! Why me? There been a moida. I can't get caught. Not like this. I gotta find some. Okay, I can't read this fast. Someone like him. I'll make it look like he did it. I really hope the text doesn't just auto-progress all the way through the game, because I can't read that fast. Alright, so August 3rd, 9:47 AM. That's a very specific time. How come I don't know how many seconds? District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. God, this soundtrack. This is very old school. I like it. Boy, am I nervous. Internet's already dying. Oh no! Oh, hope you get it sorted quickly. Right! I won't be doing voice acting this time. I've stopped trying to do that with reading out loud because it kills my voice. And I actually have a bit of a scratchy throat today, so this was a great time for me to develop a sore throat. But I have throat lozenges ready to go. Oh, hiya, Chief. Phew, I'm glad I made it on time. Well, I have to say, Phoenix, I'm impressed. Not everyone takes on a murder trial right off the bat like this. It says a lot about you, and your client as well. Thanks. Actually, it's because I owe him a favor. A favor? You mean you know the defendant before this case? That's a big no-no. You should recuse yourself. Actually, I kind of owe my current job to him. He's one of the reasons I became an attorney. Oh, well that's news to me. I want to help him out any way I can. I just really want to help him. I owe him that much. It's over! My life, everything is over! Is that your client screaming over there? Yeah, that's him. Death, despair! Oh! I'm gonna do it! I'm gonna die! Sounds like he wants to die. What gave it away? Yeah. Oh no, look at this guy! Nick! Hey. Hey there, Larry. Dude, I'm so guilty. Tell them I'm guilty. Dude, that's not how we do this. We don't do this. Give me the death sentence. I ain't afraid to die. What's wrong, Larry? Oh, it's all over. I'm finished. Finished. I can't live in a world without her. I can't. Who took her away from me, Nick? Who did this? Oh, I've just realized Nick. Phoenix. Nick. Huh. Alright, that's an interesting nickname. Oh, Nick, you gotta tell me, who took my baby away? The person responsible for your girlfriend's death? The newspapers say it was you. Yes, you. You. My name is Phoenix Wright. Here is the story. My first case is a fairly simple one. A young woman was killed in her apartment. The guy they arrested was the unlucky sap dating her. Larry Butts. Butts. My best friend since grade school. Our school had a saying, when something smells, it's usually the butts. Oh, you poor child, you. In the 23 years I've known him, it's usually been true. He has a knack for getting himself in trouble. One thing I can say though, it's usually not his fault. He just has terrible luck. But I know better than anyone that he's a good guy at heart, and I owe him one, which is why I took the case to clear his name. And that's just what I'm going to do. Because we's a good guy. August the 3rd, 10 AM, District Courtroom number 2. Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Larry Butts. Sorry. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, this is your first trial, is it not? Yes, Your Honor. I'm a little nervous. Your conduct during this trial will decide the fate of your client. Murder is a serious charge. For your client's sake, I hope you can control your nerves. Because he's nervous isn't going to prove a guy's guilt. Come on. I'd like this case dismissed on the grounds that the judge is biased against my nervousness. I declare a mistrial. Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, given the circumstances, I think we should have a test to ascertain your readiness. Would you like to take part in a tutorial? Yes, Your Honor. Oh, hands shaking, eyesight fading. The test will consist of a few simple questions. Answer them clearly and concisely. Please state the name of the defendant in this case. Larry Butts. Sorry. Well, that's Larry Butts, Your Honor. Correct. Just keep your wits about you. You'll do fine. Is that it? Next question. This is a murder trial. Tell me, what's the victim's name? Phew, I know this one. Glad I read the case report cover to cover so many times. It's... oh no. No way, I forgot. I'm drawing a total blank here. Phoenix, are you absolutely sure you're up to this? You don't even know the victim's name? Oh, the victim. Of course I know the victim's name. I just forgot temporarily. I think I feel a migraine coming on. Look, the victim's name is listed in the court record. Just press tab to check it any time, okay? Remember to check it often. Do it for me, please. I'm begging you. Here's my badge. Cindy's autopsy. Cindy what, though? Cindy Stone. There we go. This guy's Winston Payne. Larry Butts. Yeah. Blood loss due to blunt trauma. Okay. Mr. Wright, who is the victim in this case? Cindy Stone. The victim's name is Cindy Stone. Correct. Now, tell me, what was the cause of death? She died because she was hit with a blunt object. Was struck once by a blunt object. Correct. You've answered all my questions. I see no reason why we shouldn't proceed. You may play the game. You seem much more relaxed, Mr. Wright. Good for you. Thank you, Your Honor. Because I don't feel relaxed, that's for sure. Well then. First, a question for the prosecution, Mr. Payne. Yes, Your Honor. As Mr. Wright just told us, the victim was struck with a blunt object. Would you explain to the court just what object that was? The murder weapon was the statue of the Thinker. The Thinker did it. Is he a Batman villain? I think he's a Batman villain. It was found lying on the floor next to the victim. I see, the court accepts this into evidence. Statue. The shape of the Thinker is rather heavy. Right. Be sure to pay attention to any evidence added during the trial. That evidence is the only ammunition you have in court. Use tab to check the court record frequently. Okay, so we have a statue. Let's have a look then. So, Winston Payne, the prosecutor, lacks presence. I mean, he does kind of look a bit flimsy, doesn't he? Looks like a good gust would, like, blow him away. Generally bad at getting his points across. The victim in this case, a model, lived in an apartment by herself. A likeable guy who's been my friend since grade school. A chief attorney at Fay & Co., my boss, and a very good defense attorney. Okay. So, time of death was 31st of July, 4 PM to 5 PM. Cause of death, loss of blood due to blunt force trauma. I don't know why my own badge is evidence, but okay. Alright. Mr. Payne, the prosecution may call its first witness. The prosecution calls the defendant, Mr. Butts, to the stand. Chief, what do I do now? Pay attention. You don't want to miss any information that might help your client's case. You'll get your chance to respond to the prosecution later, so be ready. Let's just hope he doesn't say anything unfortunate. You know, like he was doing outside when he was like, oh god, I did it, I'm sure I did it, send me to jail, put me to death. Uh-oh, Larry gets excited easy, this could be bad. Mr. Butts, is it true that the victim had recently dumped you? Arr, watch it, buddy. Okay. We were great together. We were Romeo and Juliet, Cleopatra and Mark Antony. Oh, not Julius Caesar then. So, who was Julius Caesar in this particular relationship, And yes, didn't they all die anyway? Well, I mean, everybody dies eventually, Phoenix. I wasn't dumped. She just wasn't taking my phone calls or seeing me, ever. What's it to you anyway? Mr. Butts, what you describe is generally what we mean by dumped. In fact, she had completely abandoned you and was seeing other men. She had just returned from overseas with one of them the day before the murder. What do you mean, one of them? Oh yeah. Interesting, so she had multiple boyfriends. I mean, whether it means one of them is in, like, one after the other, or whether she was seeing several men. Lies! All of it lies. I don't believe a word of it. Your Honor, the victim's passport. According to this, she was in Paris until the day before she died. Okay. She arrived back from Paris the day before. That's doable. I'm already paying attention to shit. I'm like, could you be in Paris the day before and have returned the day before? Yes, because you're flying back through the time zone, so of course you could. If she'd have been flying east, that would have been a bit of a harder sell. The victim apparently arrived home on the 30th of July, the day before the murder. Indeed, she appears to have returned the day before the murder. Dude, no way. The victim was a model but did not have any large income. It appears she had several sugar daddies. Oh my. Daddies? Sugar? Yes, older men who gave her money and gifts. She took their money and used it to support her lifestyle. Dude. We can clearly see what kind of woman this Miss Stone was. Tell me, Mr. Butts, what do you think of her now? Can I object to that? Right? I don't think you want him to answer that question. Yeah, this is leading the witness, is it not? Yeah, Larry has a way of running his mouth in all the wrong directions. He'll be like, well, I hate the guys, and she's horrible as well, and blah, blah, blah. Should I stop him from answering, or wait and see what happens? Let's go with stop. Let's see how this works. Objection! My client had no idea the victim was seeing other men. This question is irrelevant to the case. It is, actually, yes. He already said he didn't know. He was taken by surprise by this. So this is, you know, it would be like, what did he think of her back then versus now is different. Oof, wince. Dude, Nick, what do you mean irrelevant? That's... Oh no, God, shut the fuck up. That cheating she-dog. I'm gonna die. I'm just gonna drop dead. Yeah, and when I meet her in the afterlife, I'm gonna get to the bottom of this. Let's continue with the trial, shall we? I believe the accused's motive is clear to everyone. Yes, quite. Oh boy, this is so not looking good. Next question. You went to the victim's apartment on the day of the murder, did you not? Oop. Well, did you or did you not? Well, maybe I did and maybe I didn't. Uh-oh, he went. What do I do? Do we have him answer honestly or stop him from answering? I mean, we can't really because this is relevant to the case. It'll get overturned, so we have to tell him to stop being a dick. I know, I'll send him a signal. Tell the truth. Does he understand what that little gesture means? Yeah, I was there. He did. I went. Order! Well, Mr. Butts. Dude, chill. She wasn't home, man, so, like, I didn't see her. Oh god, he's objecting. Your Honor, the defendant is lying. Lying? Can you prove that? Prison, 20 years! Alright, Sam, how are you doing today, my friend? How's life? How are the sick kids and generally the household? Is everybody feeling a bit better now? The prosecution would like to call a witness who can prove Mr. Butts is lying. Oh, this will be the guy that we saw in the intro cutscene holding the bloody statue. Well, that simplifies matters. Who's your witness? The man who found the victim's body. Just before making the gruesome discovery, he saw the defendant fleeing the scene of the crime. Which might actually be true that before he got there, he saw him leaving. But he probably then killed, I'm going to call it already, that guy then killed her thinking that she'd been seeing him. Not sick anymore, mostly? Good stuff. Glad to hear it. Oh, murmur, murmur, murmur. Order! Order in the court! Mr. Payne, the prosecution may call its witness. Yes, Your Honor. This is bad. On the day of the murder, my witness was selling newspapers at the victim's building. Oh. It might not be the guy? Hey, you got it! Well done! Haha! Nicely done, Sam. Please bring Mr. Frank Sawit to the stand. Oh my god, look at this guy. This is the guy. He's got the what is it in his head? Bindi thing. Mr. Sawit, you sell newspaper subscriptions, is this correct? Oh yes, newspapers, yes. Mr. Sawit, you may proceed with your testimony. Please tell the court what you saw on the day of the murder. Witness account. Alright. I was going door to door selling subscriptions when I saw a man fleeing an apartment. I thought he must be in a hurry because he left the door half open behind him. Thinking it strange, I looked inside the apartment. Then I saw her lying there, a woman, not moving, dead. I quailed in fright and found myself unable to go inside. I thought to call the police immediately. However, the phone in her apartment wasn't working. Interesting. So he says the phone isn't working. I went to a nearby park and found a public phone. I remember the time exactly, it was 1 PM. The man who ran was without a doubt the defendant sitting right over there. Well, that sounds bad. Larry, why didn't you tell the truth? He might be. I can't defend you against a testimony like that. Incidentally, why wasn't the phone in the victim's apartment working? Your Honor, at the time of the murder there was a blackout in the building. Aren't phones supposed to work during a blackout? Yes, Your Honor. However, Some cordless phones do not function normally. This is true. Because the cordless receiver device that connects to the phone line will actually not be turned on. Think you fixed your internet? Oh, fingers crossed. You seem to have some really bad internet problems there, Lava King. I hope they get fixed soon. The phone that Mr. Sowett used was one of those. That's true, it does look like a cordless phone in that picture. Your Honor, I have a record of the blackout for your perusal. Interesting. Electricity to Miss Stone's building was out from noon to 6 PM on the day of the crime. That covers the time frame. Noon to 6 PM. Now, Mr. Wright, hang on, let me look at this. So, wait a minute. If the time of death was 4 PM to 5 PM on the 31st, she arrived home on the 30th. 31st she was killed. Between 4 and 5 PM is the time of death. And the guy said he called at noon because he found a dead body. I mean, the blackout occurred during the time of death. Or the time of death is within the blackout. Everyone here is using the same internet? Oh, right. So it's more of a bandwidth problem. Gotcha. That still sucks, though. This is the guy that we saw in the intro cutscene. Mr. Sowett discovered Miss Stone's body. A newspaper salesman who saw Larry flee the scene. But he said he found the body at 1 PM. Time of death was logged at 4 to 5 PM. And it was on the 31st, not the 30th. It's not like she came home and then was killed later in the afternoon. Now, Mr. Wright. Yes, yes, Your Honor. Sir, yes, sir. You may begin your cross-examination. Yep, the fingers crossed emoji. Very useful. Cross-examination, Your Honor? Alright, right. This is it. The real deal. What exactly am I supposed to do? Why, you expose lies in the testimony of the witness just gave. Lies? What, he was lying? People lie? But they can't! They promise not to when they come in the court! How can they lie? Your client is innocent, right? Well, that's what we have to proceed with as the defense, right? What is this game about? It's a visual novel from 2003, I think, when it first came out. And you play as Phoenix Wright, who is a new attorney. And you go from one case to the next to the next. I think there might be an overarching story throughout all the cases. I don't know, I've never played it before. This is my first time playing it. But the idea is we're supposed to, through the court proceedings, investigate the crime and prove the innocence of our defendants, the people that hire us. So in this case, the first case we have, this guy, where is he? This is the woman who was murdered at the beginning of the game. She was a model, lived in an apartment by herself. This is her ex-boyfriend and also friend of Phoenix Wright, the attorney. And she had recently dumped him, and then she was said to have gone travelling, because she's a model, and she had maybe 2 or 3 suitors, you know, a couple of like extra boyfriends that she was seeing. And we have a passport saying she came back from Paris on the 30th of July. And a murder report saying that she died between 4 and 5 PM on the 31st of July due to a blunt trauma to the head causing blood loss. And this statue is the murder weapon identified by the police. So, yeah, we now have to prove this guy's testimony is bullshit. Now, he said he discovered Miss Stone's body and saw Larry flee the scene. However, I don't have a record of his testimony here. I thought it would add it to this so that we could read through it again, because that should be part of the court record, but it doesn't. That's weird. But I do remember that he said he arrived at her apartment to sell newspapers, saw Larry leaving the scene. The door was ajar. He looked inside and saw the dead body. He said that since there was a blackout in the building, he couldn't use the phone to contact her because there was a blackout from noon to 6 p.m. And he says that he ran to the nearest park, got on a payphone, and called in the murder there. And that was exactly 1 p.m. Time of death was 4 to 5 p.m. that day. So there's a lie there that we can catch him out in. So we need to do this. Or is your client really guilty? How do I prove he's not? You hold the key. It's in the evidence. Compare the witness's testimony to the evidence at hand. There's bound to be a contradiction in there. I already know what it is. First, find the contradictions between the court record and the witness testimony. Then, once you've found the contradicting evidence, present it and rub it in the witness's face. What, literally? I go and just smear it in his... that doesn't seem right. Open the court record with tab and point out the contradictions in the testimony. Alright, so time of death is what I think is the case here, because he may very well have seen Larry leaving the apartment around 1 p.m. and he's sticking to that as time of death, not thinking that they can figure out the time of death. So, I don't know, he's a bit of an idiot. Either that or he's just an idiot. Why would they not? Because they would have been there within like 10 minutes and found a dead body and begun processing evidence, right? So, yeah. He couldn't have called at 1 p.m. and there actually be a dead body there. She would have been alive at 1 p.m. Alright, witness account. I was going door to door selling subscriptions when I saw a man fleeing an apartment. Right, so I have to press tab to present the evidence. Right, we're going back through the testimony again. His head is still, but his body's moving. It's creepy, I know. This is the old school art form. A lot of people didn't like the remaster of this for this art. They said it looked a little bit too kind of, I don't know, odd compared to the original sprites in the game. Okay, so he saw a man fleeing an apartment. I thought he must be in a hurry because he left the door half open behind him. We don't have any evidence to contradict that. I looked inside the apartment. I saw her lying there, a woman, not moving, dead. Wailed in fright, found myself unable to go inside. I thought to call the police immediately. The phone in her apartment wasn't working. We know that's because of the blackout. I went to the park and found a public phone. I remember the time exactly. It was 1 p.m. It was not, because she died between 4 and 5 p.m. due to blunt force trauma. You found the body at 1 p.m. Are you sure? Yes, it was 1 p.m. for certain. Frankly, I find that hard to believe. Your statement directly contradicts the autopsy report. The autopsy notes the time of death sometime after 4 p.m. There was no body to find at 1 p.m. How do you explain this 3-hour gap? Aww. What? This is trivial. The witness merely forgot the time. Could we maybe look up the official police report and find out when the murder was actually reported? That might be helpful. He seems to do this weird kind of nod when he shakes his head like that. After his testimony, I find that hard to believe. He had it all rehearsed out. It was very thorough. We didn't even ask him for the time of death. Time of making the call. He just volunteered the information. Mr. Sowett, why were you so certain you found the body at 1 p.m.? Gee, that's a really good question. Great job, Wright. Way to put him on the spot. That's all you have to do. Point out contradictions. Lies always beget more lies. See through one, and their whole story will fall apart.